The Rise of Skywalker is on its way next week, and I am really excited for it, and that is J.J. Abrams' second time directing a Star Wars movie, and now I've decided to review the first time J.J. Abrams directed a Star Wars movie, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out in 2015, and it is episode 7 in the Skywalker saga, directed by J.J. Abrams, and you got the old cast of Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, along with the new cast of Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, and many others. The Force Awakens takes place more than 30 years after Return of the Jedi. A new threat is rising, known as the First Order, led by Kylo Ren. A former stormtrooper named Finn, played by John Boyega, and a Resistance fighter pilot, Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac. They escape the First Order until Finn runs into a scavenger on Jakku, Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, and a droid named BB-8, until they meet up with an older Han Solo, Harrison Ford back into the role, and Chewbacca, and the adventure begins. Now I would like to give you my thoughts on both Star Wars trilogies from the original and the prequels. A New Hope, fantastic, the one that started it all. Great start to the franchise. The Empire Strikes Back, absolute masterpiece. Probably the best sequel of all time. Easily in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and easily the best Star Wars movie. Return to Jedi, still great. I love the stuff between Luke, Vader, and the Emperor. Although the beginning at Jabba's place got off to a rocky start, but I still think it's a satisfying end to the original trilogy. And now on to the prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace. Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor do a good job, and Darth Maul is awesome along with the fight scene and the music. But the story was boring, the dialogue was wooden, and it was a disappointment. Attack of the Clones, still meh. Ewan McGregor is still great as Obi-Wan Kenobi and has some cool moments, action, and some visuals. But I just wasn't invested in the story and the romance, which I didn't really feel the chemistry there, and it is my least favorite Star Wars movie. Revenge of the Sith, easily the best one in the prequel trilogy. It does have cheesy dialogue and some silly moments here and there, but I felt invested in the story and a lot of memorable moments that I thought worked well. And 10 years after Revenge of the Sith came out, we get a new Star Wars movie, and it's going to be episode 7, and it was going to take place more than 30 years after Return to Jedi. And back in 2015, this was a huge, highly anticipated movie. Star Wars is coming back. The new director, J.J. Abrams, is directing a Star Wars movie. And it was interesting that J.J. Abrams both directed a Star Trek movie and a Star Wars movie. And I think J.J. Abrams is one of the most exciting blockbuster directors we have working today. I like Mission Impossible 3 and Super 8. I love both Star Trek movies, and honestly, Into Darkness I think is underrated. And I thought he would be a perfect choice for a Star Wars movie. And when I saw this movie on opening weekend back in 2015, I absolutely loved this movie. It was such a great return to form for this franchise, and 4 years later, I still love this movie. The Force Awakens is absolutely fantastic, and I think it is my third favorite Star Wars movie, number 2 being A New Hope and number 1 being Empire. I love The Force Awakens so much. First, J.J. Abrams did an excellent job directing this movie, with the fantastic production design in this movie, actually filming Jakku on Abu Dhabi using practical effects and locations. The way he uses practical and CGI effects, and he knows how to make exciting action scenes, and he really knows how to direct them very well, that are well edited. You can see what's going on, making them fun to watch. Not only does he direct this movie beautifully, but the story. Now, the biggest criticism I've heard of The Force Awakens is this movie uses familiar elements to A New Hope. You either like that it did it, or didn't like that it did it. I personally liked it. Yes, this movie does use familiar elements to A New Hope, but I actually like that this modern director was able to take the story of A New Hope and doing his own spin on it, and I thought that was unique. And the performances from both the old and the new cast members are great. It was so great seeing Harrison Ford back into the role of Han Solo. Just how grumpy he is in this movie, just how really funny Harrison Ford is in this movie.
That's not how the Force works.
Also, it was interesting to see Han Solo be sort of a mentor character to Rey, and I really like seeing that. And you know, the twist of Han Solo being related to Kylo Ren, that he's his father, and I actually like that they added that to Han Solo in this movie. I thought that added depth to this movie. And same, it was so great to see Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, miss Carrie Fisher so much, back into the role of Princess Leia, and seeing her and Han Solo together again, it brought a smile to my face. And as for the new characters in this movie, I love them. John Boyega is so great as Finn. I love his energy, his charisma, and likability. But what I especially like that this movie was able to humanize a stormtrooper in this movie that I don't think was ever done in a Star Wars movie, and I thought that worked very well here. And setting him up very well at the beginning when he's a stormtrooper and he's just witnessing the horrors of being a stormtrooper. I cared about his character in the beginning of this movie. Oscar Isaac is also really good as Poe Dameron. I especially love the friendship between him and Finn when they're escaping in the TIE Fighter. I love that scene. And I also like that he wasn't a Han Solo ripoff of trying to be cocky and also a pilot at the same time, to show that he has a heart of gold. And they were originally going to kill off Poe Dameron in the beginning of this movie, but I'm glad that they didn't. I really like this character. And Daisy Ridley, I think, is fantastic as Rey. And she was a newcomer by the time this movie was coming out, and this film showed she was a talent to watch out for. She especially does an amazing job, the emotion, the physicality in the role, and I especially like seeing the mystery behind Rey, just like where she came from, why is she on Jakku. I especially liked how mysterious Rey was. And now Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, he's an amazing villain. Not only is he menacing just with that mask and his voice, but motivated. And what I especially like seeing in a good villain, ones that are not only menacing, but you understand where they're coming from. I love seeing how humanized Kylo Ren is, and how conflicted he is with the light side and the dark side, and I just find it so engaging to watch. And Kylo Ren in recent years has become one of my favorite movie villains, and Adam Driver just does an excellent job in this role. Now, a problem that I've had with the prequel trilogy is that I felt like it was over-reliant on CGI effects, and looking back on the prequels, some of the CGI hasn't aged that well in my opinion, but it was refreshing to see a Star Wars movie to have a mix of practical effects and CGI effects and utilizing them very well. And I didn't mind the CGI effects on Snoke and Maz Kanata. They didn't really bother me and I thought they worked fine. But the practical effect that just blows my mind is BB-8. Not only is he hilarious, but he is a practical effect, and you could easily look at that thing and just think that's CGI, but when you find out that it was a practical effect, that still amazes me. And something that's also refreshing for this franchise is this movie is funny. This and Empire are the funniest Star Wars movies. The banter between Han Solo and Chewie, it felt like the classic Han and Chewie banter. BB-8 giving Finn the thumbs up with his lighter, that was adorable. Rey using the Jedi mind trick on a stormtrooper, and the first time it didn't work, the second time it didn't work, but the third time it works, and when the restraints are off, she does the mind trick again on the stormtrooper. As it's walking away, Rey says, "And drop your weapon," and the stormtrooper says, "And I'll drop my weapon." And leading into Kylo Ren's second temper tantrum, when he sees that Rey has escaped, he just starts having this temper tantrum. It cuts to two stormtroopers out in the hallway, and then they stop and they just walk away. That moment still cracks me up. And this is some of the most exciting action scenes I have seen in a Star Wars movie in so long. My two favorite action scenes in this movie are, one was the sequence where Rey and Finn escape on Jakku in the Millennium Falcon. That scene was awesome. And two is a great lightsaber fight between Finn and Rey versus Kylo Ren in the snow. I love that lightsaber fight. And I love John Williams' musical score, especially Rey's theme and the theme for the Resistance. I am so glad that they brought back John Williams to compose the music for this movie. As for issues, honestly, I don't have any. Overall, The Force Awakens is a fantastic Star Wars movie and a great start to the sequel trilogy. J.J. Abrams does an amazing job directing this movie. Great performances from both old and new, exciting action, and it recaptured the magic of a fun Star Wars adventure. This is my third favorite movie of 2015 behind Mad Max Fury Road and Inside Out, and I am going to give Star Wars The Force Awakens, but bam, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm glad that this movie holds up very well 4 years later, and I still love this movie. And I couldn't be any more excited that J.J. Abrams is coming back to direct The Rise of Skywalker. Hoping he does a great job with it. I can't believe how closer we are getting to it. I can't wait to see Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I already have a review of The Last Jedi on my channel, and I reviewed that movie back when it came out in theaters. My thoughts of that movie still holds up. I absolutely love The Last Jedi. I don't really feel like doing a re-review since that movie still holds up. It's like not enough for me to change anything or re-review. If you are interested in hearing my thoughts on Star Wars The Last Jedi, I'll leave a link to that review in the description below if you want to check it out. So what do you guys think of Star Wars The Force Awakens? Do you agree? Disagree with me? Let me know below. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new here. It really means a lot. I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review. And may the Force be with you.